Welcome to our podcast, which is The Good, the Bad, the Hustle. Really, why have we created this podcast? And it is to talk to entrepreneurs and small businesses and give them as much inspiration and insight as we can of the path of an entrepreneur and what you go through. So we'll be talking about positive things. We'll be talking about challenges, which is what, Tiff's going to cover a little bit more about what we're going to talk about this week. So really the bigger takeaway is to bring you insights, honest conversations about being an entrepreneur and relatable, that you can say, yeah, I feel that way too, and I'm not alone. So without further ado.
Yes, so we're your hosts again today, and this is Jennifer Komish, and I'm Tiffany Wood. Last week we spoke about how to find a good business partner, and today we're going to get into pivoting and managing a startup. Because it ain't easy, right?
It's true. It is not easy.
There's a lot of work that goes into it.
Yeah. It's very challenging. Okay, so start with a question. What do you think was the biggest challenge of being an entrepreneur and starting a new business?
Yeah, I'll go to after I left my job and I started my own business.
Oh, okay, so beginning, pre-Clever, the very
before
beginning.
Clever Marketers.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I think that was more challenging. I was kind of more used to it by the time we've started this business.
Inaugural, like that was the first business you started.
That was my first business after, working for the government.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest challenge was I wasn't expecting that I would get so many customers so fast or so many clients so fast.
Okay.
Because, you can either get a lot or it can be crickets, none, right? Yeah. Or maybe a few and it's really slow. For me, it was overwhelm, complete overwhelm. And I had so many that I had to actually learn how to manage each of those clients as a project.
Right.
And then bring in those freelancers to help me actually run it.
Right. And again, to give people an idea, that was when you were doing kind of programming. And as much as, we were kind of doing different things when we first launched our own businesses, I was more, strategic and you were more programming. So It was you finding all of these freelancers.
Yes.
And filling the roles.
Of the different kinds of programming and the different kinds of things that the client needed in that regard. So what about you? What did you find?
I was going to say the exact opposite. Isn't that weird? Okay, we knew we wanted to ask these questions, but we didn't answer them because we wanted to see what each one would say.
Right.
So funny enough, when I was thinking challenges, I was thinking Clever Marketers, which is when we started that. But even on my own, yes, we were lucky to have a client out of the gates. But I think the biggest challenge is finances. I think that it was kind of the opposite, that when we started Clever's, like, where's the money coming from? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we were lucky we didn't have to put a lot of money into it. We had very little overhead because we were doing a website, and that's your specialty. So that was overwhelming, but we really...
And you did all the marketing.
Yeah, so in that sense, it was easy. But going and trying to find, like, we started with online course, right? And we didn't really get people signing up. And it was
so competitive. We didn't really realize how competitive the landscape was. And that maybe that was part of our error in not... thinking it through beforehand.
And looking at what, we did look at, our competitors were Coursera and some other people out there, but I don't think we realized the scope of how big they were and how, how hard it was to have credibility and actually say, we are worthy of you taking our course. And, there was a little bit of challenges with the younger audience at that point that were getting scammed with some of the courses.
Right.
So that didn't help when you look at the marketing environment. But for me, we weren't pulling in any money. And I think a lot of you, depending on what kind of business you're going into, you're going to have debt for a long time before you have revenue. And for us, as much as we didn't have the debt, we weren't pulling in the customers for the online course, which is what we originally kind of created that Clever Marketers for.
We were trying to teach people everything we know so that they didn't have to pay the big prices to hire us. We wanted to teach, and we thought, people are just going to jump at that because we're offering it for practically free,
and it's all the advice that, like, and all this that
everything
we learned from these big agencies and work. It's, and so we thought everyone's going to jump on this. So that was, to me, I think the biggest challenge, that I just had different expectations of what that would deliver. And the good news is, and this is what we want to talk about with these challenges, is that we did have the consulting, because the consulting was what we were always doing. So that paid our bills. And without that, when you're trying to get started with the online courses, it was really challenging. And the first thing you do is, well, why not? Like, is the product not good enough? Or is the marketing environment? So I think that for me, financially, was like, wow, I just thought it was going to be different. And that was the really one of my biggest challenges there. And it's funny because I think with that advice, and this feeling of, okay, well, where do I start? And maybe that's for you guys some of the biggest challenges is, where do I start, right? And once you got your business partner or no business partner, whatever that looks like, what are the next steps? And we did do our due diligence on that. And that's, advice we want to give you guys is that you do have to understand the market, and you have to look at your competitors. And there's so many ways to do that. You can Google search it. You can go through, there's hundreds of different ways that you can analyze the market. And that means even going out into the market and looking what people are doing and signing up for your competitors and finding out what they're doing. So sometimes that first step is really challenging, and you have to do that homework. And so as much as we had done that homework, I thought, and the other thing you need to think about is you have to solve a problem. You have to figure out, and that's why I thought we would have this rush of people, because we knew we were solving a problem, that people were starting out, they didn't have money, they wanted to know where to start, and we were giving this step-by-step process,
low
online,
budget.
do it your own thing.
Yeah.
And that's where the challenge was. So I encourage you guys to make sure you've done, your homework. I mean, we've had clients where one of our clients, was looking at bringing and importing a perfume. And so we were coaching them through some of this stuff. And it was fascinating because my first question was, well, what does it smell like? Like, who's the audience? And they're like, well, I don't know. But they had an opportunity to bring this perfume. I'm like, well, you can't do anything until you figure out what that is and live and breathe it and who the target is. So you have to work through that, which is what we help our current clients do a lot. And that's where you have to make sure, if you're stuck at the beginning with, where do I start? That's the first step, is looking at the environment. What is your brand? What are you going to offer? So that challenge is there, but there are ways to overcome that and get a read on your consumer and what problem you're solving for them, right? That's a big, hopefully insight for you guys as you're starting out. Because even doing that homework,
because it happened to us, we didn't really realize how competitive it is online to sell an online course. And we knew the competitors, and we knew what we offered versus what they offered. And I think that made us feel stuck for a little while. And I think that was, I'd say, my second biggest challenge that I've had in doing these businesses is we were really stuck, and we didn't want to give up. We knew we had something good. We knew that our heart's in the right place. We want to offer people help in the best way possible, which is offering low budget ways to get the business going, and helping people through that. But then, what'll end up happening is ultimately you're going to get stuck somewhere. And this is what we're hoping that these podcasts will help you with, is that we're going to bring in entrepreneurs who are going to give you examples of places they got stuck.
In different industries, right? Like, we're talking right now about an online business, an educational business, but people that are, we're hoping to have Annabelle on, and Annabelle is, an artist and writing and writing plays. And so everyone's going to get stuck in different ways. And it's just, I think our biggest takeaway, what we want to talk about in this episode, is really pivoting. That's number one. That's
number one, because, and I think, you don't give up, and there is a certain place where I think a lot of entrepreneurs give up. They've gone hard, they've done all their homework, they're going, and then all of a sudden the overwhelm and the stuckness frustrates them, and they want to give up. But that's when you pivot, and that's when stuff starts changing.
You had said to me too, I remember this because we were working through this together, and having a partner really motivates each other, right? Because you're like, well, you're stressed, and you're feeling, that you can't, get this right. And then you said to me, everyone gives up right before, what was it? It was like almost a 2-year thing. You said everyone at a certain point, when you think you need to give up is when all
Stuff
these
happens.
big entrepreneurs say that is when it has to start. Like you can't give up.
And that's when it happened for us.
Yeah, that's true.
The pivot came, and it wasn't exactly in the direction we thought it was going to go.
That's true.
It ends up that we're doing more coaching and teaching.
Yeah.
Ironically. And, but you know what? That was exciting because we were both up for to do those things. We just had thought we were going to be doing these online courses, and that was going to be our future.
Yeah.
But, if you're willing to stick it out because, it does get sort of dark for a little while. But then right when we both were kind of like, oh, we're so frustrated, we paused and we said, okay, we're not stopping.
Yeah.
And then, a call came in and we were like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Who knew it was going to go this way?
Yeah.
So,
and being open to that too, right?
Yes.
That it doesn't mean that something else isn't going to work, but it's just trying to find paths. And I think for some of you that maybe are not in online, but maybe, Tiff mentioned earlier, in retail or in other businesses like finance, right? Like, or even if you're starting a new business and you're selling something, right? When you see that, you have to listen to the customer. Right? And you have to see what is selling. And then that's where you're pivoting differently, right? And I guess we're doing the same. We pivoted by selling something different, having different offers that fit. And you're going to have to do the same thing, is right? Listening to the customers, understanding that, okay, I'm selling more of this or of that. So I need to, pivot and ask, like, speak to your customers, right? What are you looking for? Like, what problem can I solve for you?
What's their pain point, right?
Yeah.
What is it that's killing you? And, as the client, what is it that you need? What is it that you want from me? And that's definitely going to lead you down a direction, right?
Yeah. And that's
clarity. It will give you clarity for sure.
And with that comes, you always have to keep learning, right? Because with that, like, we're teaching ourselves things that we didn't expect to be learning, right? Which is more the educational system and looking at, teaching. And again, I've been teaching for a long time, but for Tiff, that's something really different to get in a classroom.
Brand new, and it is. And I lost my voice because I'm not used to talking that much, that loud. I have a soft voice.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh geez, I have to bring like a Halls or something next time so that my throat stays moist. And it's interesting, and you got to keep it interesting. I can ramble on, and then I saw all these students, their eyes just rolled back in their heads and they looked like they were just like going to fall asleep. And I'm like, okay, hands-on work. Let's start building a website. Yeah. And we just jumped right into it. And then everyone giggled and got excited, and it was like a flurry of energy. Yeah. Right. And I learned that talk less, do more kind of thing for me.
Yeah.
And for what I teach.
It's continual growth. I think
is
is where you're going with that. And I think we all have to look out for that and make sure that we are willing. And I think especially when you are as an entrepreneur or a small business, I think if you are in a larger organization, yes, there's always room for growth, but it's not necessary, right? Because that's your choice.
Very
right?
good point. Yes.
But as an entrepreneur or small business, you have to grow with the business. And so it's different. And yes, at some point you do have to hire people. Like Tiff and I have, there's a bigger challenge that we've always had was social. It's just, it's not in our DNA. And it's, and I see my daughter, and she can just do it. It's like nothing to her. But for us, it's like, we have to learn social. And that was hugely overwhelming.
Huge. And we're shy about it too. Like we're not good at, it's back to that putting your face out there and doing these kinds of things. You have to really push yourself. You have to do something hard. Yeah. When you can do the hard stuff, the easy stuff's going to come easy.
Yeah.
But you have to push yourself through and you challenge yourself. Yeah. And again, I think you've just got to make sure you pick a business that you're interested in, that you have some kind of interest or passion for. It makes it so much easier. If you pick something that you think, oh, I could make a lot of money doing this, but you don't like it, you're probably not going to make a lot of money doing that.
And as you grow, you are going to bring people on board that are specialists in certain areas. And another thing too, you don't have, like we're saying here, make sure that, you learn this or you do stuff on your own. I'm also going to say that there are times when you have to bring in the right people that have the right expertise. So I, have a huge background in marketing and programming, but one of our clients needed PR. Well, PR, and I'm talking more specific to a press release and other things and those relationships that I don't have with, other magazines and media. So we had to outsource that. So there are times when you don't necessarily, have the expertise in everything. So you've got to make that balance of when does it make sense for me financially, or I have the opportunity to learn myself, and then when do I bring in the experts to be able to do that for my business. And the larger your business gets, the more opportunity there is to bring in specialists in those areas, or outsource that to that extent. So that was part of our pivoting and learning too, is just trying to find that balance of.
And I think one other thing we did, and we do well, and we still do this well, is we talk to people. We ask a lot of questions. Whenever I run into somebody I know, or somebody that I know or I know through somebody, and they've got a successful business, I ask them questions. So who do you use for this?
That's a good point.
Oh, wow, do you think they might want to help us out with this or that? And how did you do this, or how did you do that? And, you really do have to ask questions. You can't do it all in a bubble. Like, you really do need to see, what are other people doing? How are they doing it? Okay. So put yourself out there.
As we say this, you're talking about challenges. I feel like I have another one. I'm just piling them all up now. But I'm like, the other one is, I'm just not a big networking person. Like, that isn't my... And I think we talked about this in the episode the first one too, because I was saying how you're better at going out there. So we're going to a networking event in a couple of weeks, and already I see it on the calendar, and I'm like, oh my God. How reputations. But we go and we have fun, but there's something about it. But
and people should do that. You should go to networking things, and even people with similar businesses. It's not competition. It's a good chance to find out, where are they getting their clients? How are they getting their clients or their customers?
More of that.
What are they selling in their store that's like selling like hotcakes if you have a similar business? What do you like about it? What don't you? All of those things. And it really does help you grow.
Yeah, it does. So and it's something we have, I continually have to work on. It helps you
build your confidence, right? Yeah. Because you say, okay, I'm not alone. Yeah. They're doing it too, and other people,
And people, I think, generally want to help other people.
They do, of course. They do. I do. I think that too.
Inherently, I think we see, sure, there's, competitors and struggles, but I think inherently we all do want to help each other, especially in this world of entrepreneurs and small businesses. There's an affinity that it's like a community of people that are like, I've done it too. And that's why we're starting this podcast, and that's why we're excited. Next week, we're actually going to talk about the hustle side of it. So we're going to get into more of that, how to make sure how to get the clients, right?
Yeah, hustling.
What happens when you don't have the clients,
right?
And all those things, and we'll give away some kind of our biggest learnings, not necessarily the biggest challenges, but biggest learnings. So that will be next week. But after that, we'll be bringing in different people, and I think we're going to hear a lot of different insights about people and pivoting and getting stuck and getting unstuck. So it won't just be hearing it from us, but I think inherently all those people I have a gut feeling are going to say the same thing. Everyone really is genuinely interested in helping each other.
Exactly. And there's, we're going to bring someone in from every different kind of industry that we can pull together. So it's going to be fascinating to hear, how they got on their journey, number one. And when did they find they had to pivot? Yeah. Because I think everyone pivots at some point.
Yeah.
And I think just, one door closes, another opens. And it's exciting, actually. It's like, what's behind door number 3 this year? You just don't know all the time. And I think that's what keeps it interesting, and without it going stale and boring. And
and staying positive. It's not easy to do.
No.
But you know what? Inspiration and positivity and having gratitude, I think, goes a long way. So we appreciate when we have tough times. We got to appreciate the good times. So and so anyways, I think we probably talked your ear off again. So number 2 down in the books.
Yes.
And we hope that there was some big takeaways there. And if anything, that you're inspired to get started. And again, any questions you have, please reach out to us at any time, info@clevermarketers.com. We're always interested to hear from people, and it doesn't have to be about, how we can help, but just insights, and start to have some conversations. And also in Spotify, please comment, and we can start having some discussions, because it would be great to hear what you're getting out of this, and maybe other things that you want to hear about, and any potential guests.
Well said.
I know.
Well, it was fun. I'm looking forward to episode 3.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a good one.